as you guys start playing these games, first with the big lid, the article there, and then especially as we start to downsize, we don't really want the dog mouthing or especially trying to retrieve that small object. So there are a few tips and games we can play to clean that up right away before we get too far down the road. So one of the games that I like to play, if you're familiar with it, it's basically it's called the mouse game. Some of you may know it by another name. Essentially, we're going to cage the object. So we're going to just put our hand over the object in kind of a loose cage fashion. So that way the dog actually cannot mouth it, pick it up, paw it. And it's critical here that you get the reinforcement in. You can, when you make your cage, you still have a little bit of an opening, so you can get your reinforcement in quick. And remember, just drip feed right onto the article. The other thing you can do is be careful about the surface first you're playing on, because if it's a slippery surface, that article is going to get pushed around. But the other thing you can do is just take a finger and hold it down, right? And again, just drip feed to the lid. If you want to get really good focus on that article, this is again a really good place to start. And so while you're holding your finger on that lid, this is a game that a good friend of mine, a mentor, Anna, she's been working with police dogs in Scotland for a number of years, and she showed me this game. It's brilliant. You put your finger down on the lid, and you, as you're drip feeding to the lid, just tap the lid ever so slightly, and that's going to really keep the dog focused on the lid and also away from your hand. So one more tip for you guys, and this is particularly for those of you that are interested in a really hard focus on the article. You can start actually by turning this away from the article, so you can actually use a piece of food, then work to the favorite toy, a ball, whatever that could be, and essentially you'll place that food in front of your dog, and as soon as they're focused on it, release them to it. Now that release cue is really important, and then you can work on very slowly, right? You don't want to jump right into this, but very slowly increase the duration and the distraction there before you increase your distance on this. But if when your dog is again focused forward game, focused forward on that food, or focused on that toy, release them to it. And then you can start introducing your article as well. And if you need to, cage it. Again, when they're focused on it, drop the food. If you start moving your hand with the food and their head turns away, just take your hand back. When they're focused again, drop the food. You can work up to where you're behind them, which is actually a nice setup. You're behind them, they're focused on the article, they're focused on the ball. Toss the food over their head, the word placement. So the food isn't going to come when they're looking at you directly. It's going to come when they're focused on the article. Hope that helps.